Hello, I'm Sephrajin, and I'd like to introduce you to the Sephrajin Industries Deep Space Exploration Versatile Space HQ, which is base I've built for the faction on the server I play on with 10 people, so the space is supposed to be for 10 players, including me. And therefore it did need some CV parking slots as well as some SV parking slots places. So yeah, I've added some, and they did increase the size of the base drastically. Well, not that the base itself would be small anyway. You see here is a ship upside down. This might look a little bit strange to you. I show you why it's not as strange as it might appear on first sight. Let's go here without the GM mode. You see here, this is the Beluga liner, and I'm just going forward now, and also stop moving forward at a certain point. And I hope you recognize that part, because at that point the visual starts having a glitch, missing a better word here. I start moving. So what I do now is just moving forward while pressing C, and now I stopped moving and we're upside down and looking up to the mirror. And yeah, that's about it. So you can now walk up to your ship and go in there with just like any other platform you would. So as you see now, we are upside down, and let's go back. And, and switching, and we're back. So that's for that, and let's go in. This is Sephrajin Industries Deep Space Exploration Versatiles, DSEV. It is a coincidence. I actually first thought up of Deep Space Exploration Versatiles, and just later on I realized, well, the wordplay it gave. So it was non-intentional, but I really like it. Anyway, so here's the first med bay. Well, there's only one, but just at the entry there's the med bay. Fully equipped, of course. We have here a faction info LCD to be edited manually, and we have here, because the base uses Empyrean scripting mod by Aztec, so if you play on a server, this is the LCD where server informations would be displayed. And well, the server I play on uses GER for German, and therefore this would display German info of the server. You might need to adjust that either if you play on another server that has English, Italian, or whatever other language, or if it doesn't use the name-specific abbreviation afterwards. Anyway, we have here also more information on the base. So like, for example, we have just the name of the base, and in here just slightly notice noted the PvP and are at orbit. Now this is the creative studio of mine, and in creative there's always PvP on, so there's that. In orbits where no PvP you wouldn't see the PvP thing. And also nearby bioscience, well, just me in creative mode, so this is just listening me. And also here the docked vessels with their power and fuel listed, and this in the middle is the power and fuel of the base, and date and time up here. We have here the lounge area before visitors can book a flight, and then, well, go up here, move for, and then, well, have a tour with the Beluga liner, which is a luxury resort tourism vessel. Of course, for a faction you must have designated medic area. This is with the red pillar. And with the green pillar, we have the food area. And of course, each grow plot row has their own toggle for the grow lights. So you don't have to actually use everything and wasting energy. You can just plant as much crops you need and only light those plots. Of course, speaking of a faction base, we do have rooms. They are supposed to be decorated by each player themselves. As I said, this is for my faction I was playing on, and therefore names are for the faction mates from there. Of course, you would need to adjust that. And the top two rooms is, well, one for me and for my right hand, first officer. We do have a little balcony, and we do have already installed bathrooms and toilets. So this is for my own decoration later on, and this is for her decoration later on, and down here are the rooms of my faction mates. Again, so everybody can have their individual decorations and rooms and stuff, so they can feel at home with their own preferences, colors and whatnot. And this said, the upper area here is for player decoration as well. Well, the rest of it at least. They did request that, so they can later on, well, build their own stuff. Like one wanted to make a pool table, billiard, snooker kind of thing. Other wanted to make a comfortable movie zone. Yeah, ideas are there, so yeah, why should I do everything if they want to add their own stuff later on? But since that is very individual, I did not want to include that part. So they have something that is really their own. Speaking of own rooms and stuff, we do have a lot of production, obviously, too. Now, at first, this is only the storage area. Now, this would be all the prefabs, the little ones, capacitor device, cobalt alloy, motor, yeah, that stuff, energy matrix and stuff like that. We have your reserves like O2 and warp crystals. These boxes here, at least those labeled base, capital vessel, hover vessel, and small vessel on the other side, these are containers to store ammo that should not be used directly, but for other structures. So if you build a new base, you can come here and pick up the ammo you need for that base and go with it. This is just a small in-between storage for steel plates, hard, normal, and stone, because you need those as well. And by doing poise, you get a lot of steel plates if you do put a core. We have here also an LCD showing which resources are urgently needed, like less than 100, so this is a list here. It looks a little bit offset right now, but keep in mind it would also list low resources that are above 100 but lower than 999, so that space is required there. You do see some boxes here but no LCDs. That is because the scripting mod updates the screen, so as long as there's nothing in the box, well, the LCD looks empty. So as soon you add something in the box, it looks like this. We have here up to 25%, the bar is red. Between 25 and 50%, the bar is yellow, and above 50%, the bar is green. Now, something to say about the bar is this. With mass volume in the game, we have a slight challenge in adjusting such a progress bar because of different numbers. I've made here for the ores a capacity of 96k SU, which for demonstration, I massively overexceeded, just to show that if I did adjust the progress bar to mass volume and then would play it with normal settings, you could throw in much more ores, and therefore the bar would be well, larger, and this would cause an error because the content number would be bigger than the capacity number, and therefore, yeah, well, it would display an error. And to avoid that, I had to adjust all the boxes to non-mass volume, so the bar still shows some indication. However, for mass volume, you would need to rely on the absolute numbers, like here 51,000, well, let's say 52,000 of ores, which is way too much for mass volume. This said, we have a lot of, exactly, and here are the bars. So there's that, 0.02%. Anyway, let's continue with the actual production area down here. We have here advanced constructor, everything. We have advanced constructor for blocks S. This would be for blocks L. No, this is devices S. Okay, device and blocks S, and this would be the L ones. In that case, blocks L and devices L. And this is just a secondary everything box. Can also be used for, well, it's supposed to be used, oh no, output everything, or just for other stuff. We have here water jugs to input power, so this would do the hydrogen bottles, and the blue ones would do promethium pellets, like, right? So from promethium raw to promethium pellets is one of those, and the other would go, this is for pentaxide, this is white, yeah, this is pink, so the other blue one here does input power from promethium raw. So while using both blue constructors, you would be able to create promethium pellets as reserve for a new base or other stuff like ammo, and the other promethium pellets are straight going into the power constructor box. So you always have a steady supply, which is very important, at least to me. So we have up here some solar batteries, capacitors, or whatever they call. We have here the furnaces, set 1. And we have back here all the constructors for prefabs and room to expand, either by storage room or more constructors, whatever you like. But I just thought this would be the absolute basic for a faction, because you do need and want to have as short production times of the stuff you actually need as possible. Thus, it helps to prefabricate all the items you need. And as you see, SC motor, they are all assigned already, using input everything and going to their designated areas. So you can just, you know, like add all the stuff you need. So this would be motor, right? And then just start a production. Obviously, I don't have any input run, so this would fill up here. And then when you're short in supply on the input everything box with prefabs, you can just move some of them over there. Very easy, or move to your CV or the other bases whatsoever. We don't have here an elevator because production storage is done by now. But as it is important, we have here direct access from the hangar area from above, and we're going down here. So here to the hangar for SVs and stuff. Well, mostly SVs, because can't dock CVs. For CVs should be outside. So for your most vulnerable or most important SVs, precious ones, you can park them in here, protected from the outside by 2 rows, and obviously a shield generator as well. This said, we do have access from the inside parking area And also doors mark whether where to enter and where to leave this area. So red would be, you know, the entry from the outside, and green is here to exit, obviously. This let's have another quick look, because I'm kind of proud. There's small lights here indicating the direction, whether you're going in or out, and there's also the red and green on top and at the bottom of the hangar doors, which indicate whether or not this is supposed to be an entry or an exit. We have here another big SV parking area. You can just go into the elevator and move up. Moving up, that was the entry where we came from, well, the passage. And here's another entry to this mid-level of the hangar inside. And back here we have, it's going back to the SVs. And up front here, you can watch the CVs on the big dock, or the big CVs. And of course, you can also walk here and move to the other side, or just heading up here. Whoa! What's not the matter? So let's move up. Yeah, basically that's about it. We have here the solar panel, we have some greeble down there, and yeah, parking for more CVs and CVs, and here some SVs. This is of size class 42, the answer to everything. That is because it has everything, and slightly huge with that as well. And this said, you have easy access because everything is grouped manually. So don't use auto sort, because it would mess things very much up. So access AC everything is for everything, blocks and devices you need the most. AC power, which you also probably need a lot or often. More stuff are like armor lockers, repair station, deconstructor, faction use and to do. Easy access up here, so you don't have to walk to every single construction box. Like storage here, iron ore and bar all together sorted, and all the prefabs and blocks and devices and so forth. Ammo, BA, CD. Actually, so this is the actual ammo base controller that uses the ammo for the base. This is the only actual ammo box in here. The others are just storage boxes, as I already stated, to be used to prefab the ammunition, so yeah, you can just pick it out of the box. Likewise for HVs and ammo, yeah, construction prefabs are more as well. So we have here all the prefabs that are required, that are there, and everything is already connected to their output box and input box. So all you need to do is to keep your input everything box and input power box filled. Actually, only the input everything box you will need to refill manually by using the other boxes. But you can, you know, like have full boxes of motors and cobalt alloy, so you just can move stacks over to your input box and save a lot of time on construction devices and stuff. So that's the point behind that. And yeah, that's mostly about it of the base. I really like it, design-wise at least. I'm proud on that part. But I do feel bad that it became that huge, because this really takes a little bit out of the fun in practically using, especially if you actually place and park CVs on all the slots, because you get like 8 CVs parked here, and as we know, parking 8 CVs regardless of their size will start to become laggy. As a matter of fact, I already have only 10 frames, but I'm recording, I have some tools in the background as well, and these are very big ships already. So Mira is class 32, and also the Beluga is something like 15, I think. I don't know by heart. 20. All right. So there's size class 20 and size class 31 at the base. That is size class 42, and I'm having like 10 frames. So what was supposed to be a faction base sadly became a single player base. But as a matter of fact, I'm using, or if I still would play actively, this is what I would be using just for myself anyway. So I don't get it when people have troubles with 2 constructors and saying, well, that's too much. I need more. Because once you start producing things, you can't have enough materials fast enough. Especially if you want to build online, you do need to have a steady, wide supply of different blocks, devices and stuff, possibly at all times at hand to choose from, because otherwise you're just too limited, and that's most times the reason I can't build online, because I'd have to wait for the devices I want to use, although I'd probably remove them right after because I'm not happy with how it looks, and replace them again and again and again and work at other places. So having lots of constructors and boxes is a must-have from my point of view as a single player, and even more so if planning for a faction. That is said, this is probably my last big base, as in all-in-one base, because with the production area done here, I really want to make a pure construction yard, well, fabric, well, just for the production. That is just focusing on producing items and store items that are to be used again and so forth. And yeah, that's about it, because this would help to reduce the size and make it usable again. So with just a little bit of role play, if you're going to make a production base, it will get big as well. It will be bigger than class 6, that's for sure, if you want to have a real and complete production area. Well, anyway, I hope you like the base. Please give it a rate if you do so, or better yet, just leave me a comment. Rating is overrated. So just leave a comment. What do you think? I know this is too big, and I know it's incomplete because yeah, it became too big. And I also know most of the people will remove a lot of stuff from the inside, and therefore yeah, I started to get tired of doing all the stuff, knowing it will be not used as such anyway. Well, anyway, thanks again for watching. Hope you like it. See you around and have a good time. Bye.